Alright, and welcome back to video 2 in our 4-part series. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about collaboration within Microsoft Excel. And in the context of this class and the software we're working with, we talk about collaboration. We're talking about a process where two or more individuals are working together to achieve a goal or an outcome by using software technology and features to kind of share and edit file content. So when we talk about collaboration, we're talking about inherent things within Microsoft Excel that allow multiple people to access and modify a workbook. One of the tools, one of the inherent features within Excel that we're going to talk about is comments. Those are just digital notes or annotations that either ask a question, provide a suggestion, or may even ask for some clarification directed at another person about something in the content of the worksheet cell. So we're going to look at inserting and managing comments in Excel. I want to point out the comment indicator that's used. So if you see a red triangle in the top right corner of a cell with a comment, that's a clear-cut indication that there is some sort of a comment or a request for clarification regarding the information in that cell. Another thing we're going to look at is, as well as inserting and managing comments, is how to print comments. So comments within Microsoft Excel do not print by default. You actually have to go in there into the page setup dialog box and indicate your comment printing options, and we'll take a look at that. We're going to look at two different settings for that. The first one is as displayed on the sheet, which is basically as the visible comments appear on the screen, that's how they're going to be printed on the page. One thing to note is there are no hidden comments that are printed when you select as display on the sheet. So what you see is what you get in that particular type of setting. For the setting of at the end of the sheet, it's a more comprehensive comment printing option. It prints it on a separate page and includes a cell reference and the comment text for each active worksheet for all comments, regardless if they're hidden or if they're visible. We're also going to look at sharing and merging workbooks. So there are two kind of conditions for when we talk about sharing a workbook. So first thing we have to ensure is that we have a place where all people that are designated to modify the workbook have access to it. A lot of times these are on a network drive or a shared drive. So that's the first hurdle, is making sure that workbook resides in a location where everybody who needs access has access. The next piece is that we indicate that workbook is shared and that we share it out to whomever requires access. So when you talk about a shared workbook, it's just a designated workbook that's shared and stored in a commonly accessible location, usually on a network drive where multiple people can access and edit. We'll look at some of the features and some of the settings for that. So we can indicate settings that allow changes by more than one user at the same time. We can specify how long the history of the changes are to be kept. We can update the changes section. It sets how often those are updated. And then we can also indicate how we resolve conflicts and changes between users, various sections, and in changing data in the same cell. So we'll take a look at that. But again, the biggest thing we're going to be, I want everybody to remember, is that conflicts and network issues, again, kind of occur as a common theme. So again, you have to make sure that you have the correct permissions of the location, physical location, and that the workbook is designated as being shared. We're also going to look at how to compare and merge workbooks. We'll talk about that a little bit here, but we're going to look more at that in class this week. The other collaboration tool or feature that we're going to be talking about is track changes, and that's just simply a feature that kind of provides an audit trail that records the particular changes made within a workbook. Again, those are set through the Review tab. Gives you a kind of a highlight of changes that are made as multiple people work through a workbook, and it's at the end of the day, or when the workbook is designated as being ready to be finalized. You can have a designated party or parties go in there and accept or reject the changes as they're made. And one of the other features that you can include is a history worksheet that just kind of provides a list of changes, an audit of what changes were made by whom at what time. So let's go ahead and take a look at our workbook here. What I've got here is I've got an example of a particular, again, just a small sales team. We're going to look at, in this particular example, we're going to look at how we can share the workbook out, how we can indicate track changes, and how we can apply comments. So the first thing that I want to make sure that everybody's clear on again is saving it to that shared location. In this particular instance, I've gone ahead and saved this to my OneDrive account, so I have access to share this out to multiple individuals. First thing I want to go ahead and do is, again, I want to share my workbook. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to allow changes by more than one user at the same time. Okay, so this also facilitates some workbook merging. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that. You can go to the advanced settings. You can indicate how long you want to keep the change history for. On update changes, you can change based on when the file is saved, or if it's you want it to automatically update every so many minutes. You can, for conflicting changes between users, you can ask me for which changes when. Changes being saved when is another option in there. And so you can also include some other settings in here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave those by default. So we'll now save the workbook. It's going to save it back out to my location. So now my workbook is shared. I can go in there and give access to multiple people. But before I do that, I want to go in here and make some changes, make some comments. So I'm going to click Check Changes, and I want to highlight the changes. So it gives you the ability to track while editing. This also shares your workbook. My workbook is already shared. But I want to highlight which changes. I want to highlight them all, and I'm going to share them out to everybody. I want a list of changes on a new worksheet, so I click OK on that. It says no changes were made because I have not made any changes. So the first thing that I want to go ahead and change is this first name here. It looks like a uncommon spelling of the first name Michael. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change that first name to Michael. Now if you notice here I have an indication that blue indicating that I made a change here into this particular cell. If I actually highlight over that cell, it will give me a little bit of an audit in terms of what that changed. So while I've gone ahead and made this change, I also want to go in here and make a comment, because I want to draw attention to the fact that I changed first name to Michael spelling. And essentially what I'm doing by this is drawing the attention. I put a comment in here, kind of a secondary audit that goes ahead and indicates that I've made a modification to that particular, that I made a modification to that particular cell, but I've also indicated that I want to go ahead and draw attention to the fact that I made the change and what the change was. So again, and my Excel crashed for whatever reason, but that's just an example of how to go ahead and make some modifications in here, provide track changes. Again, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the changes. I want to list changes on a new worksheet. And you can go in here again and make more changes if the information is incorrect. So we can change that. And again, it will provide indication of there. If we make a comment with regard to, let's just say we got the middle initial, well, we need to change that to an E. We can go in here and we can make a comment that says change middle initial. And again, that comment indicator exists, and my Excel managed to close down again. But you can go in there and make those changes, share that workbook out, and then again, after all those changes have been made, you can track those changes, and then we'll take a look at again how to go in and actually accept those changes once those changes have been made. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that file again, and I'm going to go back in and change. Make sure we have track changes. We're going to highlight these changes and we'll put them on new sheet. We can go back in here and we can do accept, reject changes. So after everything, we can go in here and we can accept or reject these changes based off of what we have made. And I'm going to go in here and save. Let's save it as a different file name since it's not liking that. And we'll save this copy of it. So we'll save that file, and I can go back in here if it's done with my save. And again, I can accept or reject those changes. It'll ask you which changes do you want to take a look at to accept or reject. And you'll notice it gives you kind of an audit trail of this was changed from Michael, M-I-K-E-L, to Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. So you can accept that. Once that change has been accepted, your indicator goes away, and again, you can go ahead and accept or reject changes based off of collaboration with other folks. Again, you can put in a comment here. Is this correct? Initial. And again, you have that indicator that your comment exists. If you highlight that cell, you can go in there, edit that comment. You can delete the comment once you've collaborated and the information has either been verified or changed. You can go in there and remove that comment and again the comment indicator changes. So that's a quick overview of using track changes, making changes, using comments to draw attention to certain data in the fields. And again, it gives you the ability to go ahead and collaborate with other folks, making sure that information in there is correct. But again, key thing is to make sure that you share your workbook out to a common location where others can collaborate on, and then also provide they have the access to the file themselves. So if you have any questions, go ahead. Feel free to give me an email at ryan.free@ppcc.edu.